Hey everybody, I'm Sandy. I'm the founder of Motivated to Heal. Today we're here with Emily. We're going to do a Motivated to Heal success story. Just remember, as always, everything is for educational purposes only. So please consult with your doctor before making any changes to your diet, your supplements, exercise program, etc. So, hey Emily, thanks for coming on.
Hi,
And
thank
hi,
you.
you're welcome. So, what I want to go over is just basically, why don't you tell me where you started before we ever met, what your health issues were, and what you've tried, and then go into what shifted when we started working together.
Okay, so I started, my pain was with a UTI that I got. I started having, it felt like a UTI plane. So I had bladder symptoms. It hurt when I went to the toilet. It just felt like burning, just not right. Like I knew something was wrong. I went back to the doctor multiple times to get more antibiotics. So I probably did about 3 or 4 rounds of antibiotics, and these were really strong ones, and they were like 14-day courses or a 7-day course twice a day. And then I finally went back and we did another culture test, and it kept coming back that there was no bacteria in there, everything was fine. And she sort of just said to me, like, how's your mental health feeling? Like she didn't mean to say it, but she sort of kind of came at me as like, maybe this is in your head. And that's when I thought, okay, so I'm leaving the doctors now and I'm going to try and do this with somebody who actually believes me, because I felt like I was very on my own. And I joined some pages on Facebook called not Motivated Heal, sorry, Healing Interstitial Cystitis Naturally.
Mhm.
And I joined about 3 of them, and I would read them pretty much all day, every day. Like I would, on my lunch breaks at work, I would read them. I'd read them when I got home. I just wanted to find any way possible what I could try. I started buying random supplements like aloe vera. I can't even think of all the random things I tried. I probably tried about like 10 different supplements, taking random stuff all the time, hoping something would work. Nothing really did work, nothing I tried. And I think constantly reading those pages, it gave me a lot of fear, because you don't really see people post in those groups that they've healed. There might have been like one or two, but a lot of them were just people saying like, I've had this for 20 years and like my life is horrible and like there's no point living. And I'm only 25 years old. I was 24 when I first got this, and hearing that was very, I was actually 23, sorry, hearing that was very scary. Like I want a family, and it just caused a lot of fear. And having that fear, I think I couldn't tell then, but now I can see how much that actually like made my symptoms more strong.
Mhm.
Um, so I started working with a naturopath maybe 6 months after trying heaps of random stuff. I saw two different ones actually. The first guy, he sort of was like wanted me to do all these things like writing down stuff and like a lot of mindful work. And at that time, I just was like, no, I want something. I want to take pills. Or I want to take something. I just wanted an easy fix, pretty much. I was just like, this is shit. I want to feel better. You're not helping. So I went to somebody else. And the other lady I went to, we did some like food tests and stuff like that. We did a food allergy test because she thought it must have been food. And a big thing that she had me convinced on was that it was Candida. So we spent probably about 6 months trying to heal Candida from my body, because that's what she thought was wrong with me. It could be causing the pain. And I'd also read in the Facebook pages that Candida was a big cause and it could be it. So I just thought, okay, like this must be the way out. So I really dived into everything about Candida. Like I stopped eating gluten, dairy, sugar. I was eating not a lot. I got very thin. I was about 6 kgs lighter than what I am now, and I'm like quite a skinny, tall person as it is. And I just got very depressed. I felt like I couldn't do anything. Everything I did was always based around that. Like I can't, if I go out, I can't go out for a meal because what I eat, and everything was very depressing for me. And I did get very quite suicidal thoughts. And I just thought, this is not a life that I want to be living. Like my whole life will be like this. It'll be so shit. I was in a very bad headspace. I think I actually found you on a Candida page. I was reading through comments from someone that had posted about having IC, and you had commented saying that Candida is not the problem and you need to look at the body for a whole approach and stuff like that. So I thought, oh, this sounds interesting. And I remember writing back to you, and you'd said that you'd had it. And then I remember private messaging you. And at first I was quite reluctant to sort of, I thought, oh, like I've been working with this lady for like already for 6 months and nothing has helped me, and it was very expensive and there was a lot of tests we did. So then when I saw that you do a lot of testing and stuff, I was like, oh, I don't know, like I just don't think I can afford it. And then after talking to you for like a bit longer and like reading all the reviews on your pages and stuff, I thought, you know, I don't really have anything to lose by joining. And that's when I joined. And when I joined, you sent me through all the mindful stuff. At first, like when I first joined, I didn't like, I watched a little bit of it, but I sort of thought, no, like I'm just at the moment, I was still very wanting to feel better. So yeah, we just started doing the testing and stuff like that. It probably took me about 6 months maybe to start feeling better, because my body was obviously very toxic. There was a lot going on that I was unaware of. Like obviously oxalates and ammonia were a big problem for me, and I didn't believe that they were. I remember when you first said to me, I think they're oxalates, and I was like, I don't think they are. And so I think accepting and just going with what you said was a big part for me, because you have to actually realize that you're paying this person to help you. They actually care about what's best for you, and they know. Like as soon as I accepted that what you're saying is like you actually are aware of what it, and I didn't know. I just wanted an answer, and I think I was so convinced that it had to be Candida, or had to be something I believed that was for a long time was an embedded infection. I was like, it must be that, because I had a UTI. There must be bacteria, and I wanted to do like a microgen test, which is another expensive test, and you're like, you're not going to need it, and I'm like, I am going to need it. I want to do it now. And
oh, geez.
And it's funny though, because I do know like how far I've come, just the mental mind frame from looking back then. And that's why when I see people write on your pages about IC, and people who even message me about it, they say like, and I'll say, you need to build, like, trust what your practitioner is saying to you, because if they're telling you that, they know it's not. And if you don't believe them and you are questioning it, then ask for, you know, if I ever had a question, you would answer it. You would never be like, you need to just believe what I'm saying. You would tell me why. I would ask you so many questions. I probably message you every day for like 8 months.
It's okay.
But yeah, I think, and then later on, sort of like when we started doing the testing and stuff, and you would tell me to go slow, that was another thing I didn't listen to. I wanted it to help me so fast, so I would rush all the pills, and then I would get these bad reactions, and you would say you need to go slow. So then I finally started going slow and everything, and I started having days where 2 days out of the week I'd wake up and I would be fine. I would think, oh my God, it's getting better. And then like now it's been almost a year of doing this, and I can go weeks without having pain. And sometimes I get pain, but when I have pain now, it's because I know maybe I've eaten too much of something, or sorry, I blanked out. I am maybe dumping oxalates or something like that, or I need to get some more raw milk. And I'm not scared of it now. So that when it happens now, I think that is a huge, huge part of it, because when I would get pain in the past and it would never go away, I just thought, this is my life now. And now if I get the pain, I just keep doing what I'm doing. It will go.
Yeah.
And it always goes. And I think now, like, I'm really into the mindfulness stuff. I have books everywhere on the stairs that I read. I like to journal. I'm very into I believe your emotions are connected to it. But at the beginning, I didn't want a bar of that. And I think a lot of people who have messaged me, they're very in the same. And I always try to say, I think you really need to work with Sandy, because you dig deeper. You aren't just like, I'm going to give you this one pill and you can take that forever and that's going to make you feel better. It's not that. It's you actually need to do all of these different things, because everything is connected. Like, I haven't started the gut work yet, like we're starting it now, but I feel like even when I do that, like even though I'm feeling better, I don't feel like I'm finished. Like I feel like I want to keep going, and I was here and now I'm here, but I could be here, but I'm still feeling like I can do everything now. Like nothing stops me back. Like I can even eat some things that I probably shouldn't eat, but I can tolerate it.
Lollies? Like lollies.
Yeah, like lollies. And I might feel like crap the next day. It's probably horrible for my teeth, but I'm not Like I would never eat chocolate or anything, or I would go out and I would eat, like worry about the sauces that were on my chicken because I'd be like, I don't know what's in this. And I would ask the lady what's in it. And I could tell, like my partner would, he's very supportive, but he would be like, look how much this is like really affecting your life, like everything involved. And I think, what I liked about working with you as well is you're very easy to talk to, and having IC is quite a personal thing because obviously it's like a lot of vaginal pain, and where people hear vagina, they're like, oh my god, like gross. Like I've actually seen in your page before, someone will say something about vagina and someone will be like, oh, that's disgusting, and I'm like, really, like come on. But you're very easy to communicate with, and you always come back to me like very fast. It's never like, it's not like I have to email you and be like, hey, it's not awkward or anything. It's very easy. And it made it, you feel comfortable. Like I feel like you're almost like a friend, and I don't even like, I've never met you or anything. Yeah. So I think that's really important that you want to have with a practitioner. Like you want it to be comfortable, and you can say what you want, and you can, just sort of someone who's there for you, and you feel like they're there for you. And I think you've been through it as well, like in the past. That was a lot of comfort for me, knowing that, you have a family now, and that's something I really want. And I can see that you can live your life and you're happy and you're healthy. So that was something that I thought, wow, like this is actually achievable. It's not just someone sort of selling you the dream. And you knew if I was in like a flare or something, you were really able to help me because you knew the steps to take. It's not, it wasn't just like a guessing game. Yeah.
Well, and with IC, what's really complicated and it's hard for people is that you're not going to go from, where you are to better and that's it. Like that's not the process. It's very up and down. Most IC is caused by ammonia and oxalates. For almost all the cases, probably about 95% of the women that I work with, that is the cause. Hormones play a little bit of a role, but it's such a big thing. And going low oxalates, just cutting out the oxalates doesn't work. It's all about supporting the liver, supporting the detox pathways, allowing yourself to live, because a little bit of sugar or a little bit off track is not going to hurt us, but having that healthy mindset that this is a marathon, it's going to be ups and downs when the dumps come, because a lot of things can push a dump to happen. We want to avoid the dumps and kind of just coast along as much as possible, but dumps happen, and that mindset is so important. And once you shifted and you made that shift, like I remember in the beginning, it was a little bit harder when they would come, but the more you saw that they kept going away and they kept going away, and then the time in between would get longer, then it was a lot easier. And now when they do come, because they will still happen, in those first 1 to 2 years, it takes time to clear these things. Like it's not instant. And when they do come, it's really great now that, you message me, and most of the time that you've already thought of the answer, you've already got the answer yourself. You know what to do. You're really reading your body better now. And now we're just going to gut work to, keep taking some more stress off the body, because everybody should really be doing a full gut protocol every 3 to 5 years, just taking the stress off, working with the metals. So that's our next step.
Yeah. I think a lot of people as well with the IC, that's why I really wanted to actually do a video, because I do see a lot of people always saying that they have interstitial cystitis, and it is a really big thing, and it's very like a really lonely place when you get that. If you like, a few of my friends, they haven't even had a UTI before, so when I said I had this, they were kind of like, and they can't understand it. If you never had it, you cannot understand it, and like you can support people, but you just don't understand how lonely it can be. And a lot of the women who have like messaged me before, when I wrote a testimonial on your page a while ago, someone messaged me and said like, could you tell me like what the supplements you take and stuff like that? And I said, I actually can't, because it is very individual. Like what I can take, you might not be able to take. And that's why you need the genetic testing and stuff like that, because I know I used to take a lot of things like milk thistle, and there were some other supplements which I thought would be good for me, but when we actually did the genetic testing, it was shown that wasn't good for me. So I think like, and testing can be expensive, like it is, but I think you definitely need to do it. And a lot of people they don't want to spend the money on the testing, but then they'll end up spending thousands of dollars on these supplements that they actually don't end up working. Like I had a
Mhm.
box of supplements that I threw out because they were
Yeah.
just random things that I had tried that I wanted to work, and nothing did. And looking back now, I just think my body probably was like, I could have been hurting my body. Like those
Yep.
6 months that I spent trying to kill Candida with antifungals and stuff, like my body
Yeah.
was probably like, what are you doing?
Yep.
um
Well, in the Candida
and
diet too, it's sky high. It increases the ammonia
yeah,
levels. Crazy.
yeah,
High oxalate, like massive oxalate. So definitely, like very rarely is that a good idea for somebody with IC to ever go onto the Candida
yeah.
diet.
And when you're so like inflamed, like because when I first got IC, I couldn't have anything like coffee and everything like that inflamed me. And like I know coffee's not good for you anyway, but I think everything I ate, even if it wasn't high
Yep.
oxalate, it just hurt because my body was so inflamed. Like it just
Yeah.
needed some
Yeah.
detoxing. And now like I can have like a coffee, and I don't have it because I get anxiety, but I have no pelvic pain at all,
Yeah.
no bladder
Yeah.
pain when I have a coffee because that was never the problem. But
Yep.
when you're have those like pain, you start write down like when people do the elimination diet, they're like, this bothers me and that bothers me. So as something a girl said to me was, it can't be oxalates because I can eat these foods and they don't bother me because I have pain all the time. And I'm like, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean they're not bothering you. Like your whole body is bothered. It means
Yeah.
that you can't do an elimination diet without actually knowing like, I don't think those food tests are good. When I did a food test, it told me I couldn't have lettuce, carrots, broccoli, like I couldn't have anything pretty much. And I was just like, what am I going to eat the rest of my life? It told me I couldn't have dairy. I couldn't have meat. I was literally like, I was on a very slim option.
Like I'm gonna eat air.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm going to get really skinny.
Yeah,
Like,
really skinny.
um, yeah, so I would definitely recommend to anyone who is worrying about money or whatever. And I know like with COVID, it's very stressful, but I
Yeah.
had to get a loan and it took me like a year and a bit to pay it off. And that's fine. Like everybody, people have credit cards. This is the world we live in, and it is expensive. But I do think it's, to me anyway, this was something that was the most. I was like I couldn't imagine my life not getting
Yeah.
better from this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have that mindset, but they don't actually want to do something about it. They want, and it's very hard to, not hard to sympathize with people, but in a way, it is hard to feel compassion for someone who says that they want to get better so much, but they can't actually say they can't afford to spend the money when it's like, I think you're definitely worth the money. When I first looked at the prices,
Yeah.
I thought this was expensive. But
Yeah.
thinking about it now, like how much you have messaged me and how much, like you have never said I'm too busy for you. Sorry, I'll come back to you tomorrow. Like ever.
Yeah.
Like, and it's been like a year. I think for the amount of stuff that you do and how available you are, it's a very, very good deal. Like,
Mm.
especially the testing and stuff, that it can be expensive being in New Zealand. I think the only reason I
Yeah.
find it quite expensive is because I am in New Zealand, so you can just send me
Exactly.
some tests. So sometimes it's doubled, but like a lot of people are probably in the US.
Yeah.
I think it's just as well, they want to know it's going to work. And that's the hard
Mhm.
thing. It's like, the testimonials, you want to hear that this actually really works, because I've taken things before and you might hear this person's good and then it doesn't work. But it's, yeah, that's why I think doing the video for IC is like very important, because a lot of women have
Mhm.
this, and I think
Yeah.
they need to know that it actually, you can get better from this if you
Yeah.
actually want to heal yourself, but
Yeah.
you have to spend the money. Like that's just sort of the price that you can pay for your health. Like you can continue
Yeah.
living your life in pain and not take anything, or you
Yeah.
can just spend like, about $5,000 maybe, and then you can feel better. And it's
Yeah.
like, and then you feel like I've learned a lot as well about my body, because I take the raw milk, which you advised me to take. And, prior to that, I thought dairy was very bad for your body and like very inflammation. And I was sort of like, oh yeah, I said a lot of things like the raw vegan diet was like the best thing for your body and stuff like that. And I look at that now and then I think, no, like, I don't think it is good for you,
Mhm.
personally. And, everybody is different, and I enjoy meat and stuff like that. And I actually thrive having raw milk, and I thrive on meat and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people think these healthy diets that they're on is the best way to go, but they actually don't know what's best for their body.
Yeah.
Because I remember we took a test and it showed that I was quite low on like my protein or something. And I thought, I need to eat more meat. But I was very, if I eat meat, it's inflaming me and all this stuff. But it's just misinformation that you might read from books or these pages, and But I felt when I left those IC pages, I just felt so relieved. It was like
Mhm.
I was letting go of this being me, because I felt like when you have IC, it sort of feels like you get so caught up in having it that it's like it
Yeah.
becomes you, and it's like you're very scared to, who are you now if you don't have this, almost. And I
Mhm.
felt like the
Mhm.
more I was reading those pages, the more I was, this community that I was in was like my life now, and it's like my life that was out here. I wasn't actually present. I was not in this life.
Yeah.
And now that I'm not in that, and then I think about all the like stuff in that graph, I'm just, it's sad. It is very
Sad.
sad that these
Yeah.
girls get sucked into these pages believing that for 20 years they'll have this, and
Mhm.
when there is a way out. But it's,
Yeah.
you can't post that in those groups. You can't post something in there and says, hey, I work with this lady and she's amazing and she's healed me. They'd be like, no, sorry. Like,
Oh, yeah. Well, and
yeah,
it's to a point that you did the work. I was kind of like a signpost saying, take this path
yeah,
up the mountain. It's still a hard ass track up that mountain. It was a lot of work. And I
yeah,
was just kind of like pointing, and you did all the work. And the great thing about the program is, yeah, our end goal was definitely to work on the IC, but overall health wise, like, we now know, okay, genetically, how do we support your pregnancy? That's super important.
yeah,
That's the next step. Like, how do
yeah,
we work to keep you healthy and help prevent any other illnesses from happening? So yeah, it's amazing that we cleared up the IC, especially because you're so right. So many people get stuck that it's not
yeah,
curable. There's nothing available for it. The same thing happened to me when I was diagnosed with it, and thankfully I had already done a lot of mindset work. So when I read that, I was like, screw you, like, I'm not believing it. Right?
yeah,
I fixed lupus, I fixed the migraines, I fixed all of this. I will figure this out.
yeah. I'm
I will figure it
invincible.
out. Yeah, it's like I will figure
Yeah,
everything out.
yeah,
But it's so hard for so many people, especially when it's been years, to just get back into a place of hope. And then from hope, it's going and moving into determination.
yeah,
That's where we have to get our mindset to, and just focusing on the body. It's so important. It's not just about turning off the symptom. It's giving the body the best chance it can to return to balance, because the body does. It's doing the best it can all the time. We need to have immense gratitude and love for it. No matter what it's doing, it's trying. So
yeah,
we have to try to help it versus try to turn everything off that it's trying to do.
yeah. Another important thing that I think would be good to share is, I remember when I first got my list of supplements and I
Mm.
thought, this is a lot. This is a lot to take. And I remember saying to you, am I going to have to take these forever? And I was very, this can't be good to take these many pills forever. And so, and I have a big supplement stack. And like, I used to look at that like, this is going to cost me forever. And like, this is going to be, it was just the way I was viewing it was quite negative. And a bit of fear as well, being like, oh, I'm going to have to take these forever, and if I stop taking these, I'm going to be in pain. I don't actually think that now. Like, I think these have helped me like so much. I'm very grateful to be able to take these, and I think having that supplement fear that you have
Yeah.
to take so many pills is not going to be good for your body, you actually need like take into consideration, these are saving you. These are what's helped me the
Yeah.
most. If I didn't have these, if I didn't take these pills, it'd be good to have the knowledge, but if you're not actually going to implement that knowledge, what good is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Supplement mindset
And
is huge, totally huge,
yeah,
because we do have to
that was
find
the,
the gratitude for it. And the great thing is,
yeah,
we're going into gut work right now, and we actually, all of the supplements you were taking is kind of preparing you for this time, because gut work is hard.
yeah,
And then once we get through gut work and we've done a full clear, then most of these drop off. Like, you'll be doing genetically, you'll be doing ammonia detox probably for the rest of your life, but those are only a few
yeah,
supplements. That's,
yeah,
genetically what you're predisposed to is high ammonia levels.
yeah.
So it's just something that's going to be on board, but everything else, you've had this whole year to build up your levels, so everything drops off to maintenance.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that anyway. Like, I have no aspirations. I remember saying to you actually that I didn't want to stop taking them, because I remember
Yeah.
saying like, I really want to have a baby. Can I still take these? Like, I was
Yes.
like, I'm not giving them up. Like,
I
um,
know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and it's a
I
good
think
thing
that's
that
important.
you know, most of the ones you can take, and that's, you know, where the
Yeah,
support continues for you is when you're ready to take that step. We know what your
yeah,
body needs.
yeah, yeah. It's been very good. It has been very life changing for me. And when I say to a lot of people as well, like I work with this lady and she lives on the other side of the world, they're kind of like, oh, like how does that work? And I'm like, easier than you think. Like I find it easier to communicate with you than a lady who lived about 10 minutes down the road from me.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think the texting support is like a really good thing of your package because it makes
Yeah.
it, when you're in pain, sometimes you just want to, even rant to someone. Like sometimes I would just message you and it wouldn't be a question. It would just be like, I'm feeling really shit. And you would be
Yeah.
like, oh, hun, like, I feel for you. Maybe take some baking soda, have a hot water bottle. It was just support. It was just knowing
Yeah.
someone was there for you and someone actually cared about
Yeah.
how you were feeling. It wasn't just like this person who wants your money and then, and I feel like, even like when our time is up, I feel like I'll be able to message you and tell you how I'm going. And it's
Yeah.
not like, no, sorry, you started this day, you end that day, see you later. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the tech support is super important for that, because if you're in pain and you have to wait a week or 2 weeks or sometimes 3 weeks to talk to somebody, that's where
Yeah.
everything falls apart. You need
Yeah.
the course corrections, and sometimes you need a mindset kick in the ass.
Yeah.
I'm really good at giving those.
There was many times where I would be like, no, you're wrong. And then like later on, I remember coming back to and be like, hey, you were right.
Yeah, I remember a couple times you got a little
Yeah.
frustrated at me. I didn't hear from you for like a week or two.
Yeah.
But
Having a moment.
a coach is going to tell you what you need
You
to
need to
hear,
hear it. Yeah.
not what you want to hear. It's
Exactly.
going to be what you need to hear,
Exactly.
and that's just where it
Exactly.
is.
I don't
It's
feel
too funny.
like you've said anything to me that's ever been like out of line or wrong. Like
Yeah.
and every time you've said something to me, it's with the right intention. Like whether I
Yeah.
got shitty or whatever, there was a good intention behind it. It's like and never anything negative. Yeah.
You've got to a place where you're able to hear that, right? Some people aren't ready to hear it, but you know that, okay, this resonates true with my being. My ego's a little pissed off. But once it sinks in, we'll make some changes. But you've had massive, super proud of.
I think when you start getting better, when you start feeling better, that's when you're like, okay, now I'm starting to physically feel better. What can I do to mentally help myself now? Because I think the mental side of it is huge, but a lot of people don't want to do the work. I was very reluctant to do it at first. I thought there was nothing wrong with my emotions. The way I felt was fine. The only problem in my life was this pelvic pain. And that was just a huge lie I was telling myself. I was going through a rough time when the pain started, and it was something I didn't deal with very well. I drank a lot. I just made poor decisions, and I didn't want to admit that to myself. I thought I'm young, this is what people do, but I wasn't doing it because I was young. I was doing it because I was in pain. And when the pelvic pain started, and I thought, oh, this is just so unfair. And I was very in the poor me headspace. And then when I started doing the mindset work, like I've started journaling, and I just sometimes if I have a bad day, I'll journal. If I have I feel like you need to let emotions out. I'm not a very emotional person. I'm not a crier. I find it quite hard to get upset about things, even if they hurt me. I'm a very big bottler. So if someone is like that, I think the mindset work is huge. You really need to, meditate. I listen to Katie Byron, you recommended her to me. I listened to a few of them. Being with what is, just accepting. It's very hard to accept your pain when you have it, but it's huge to be able to just accept what is and actually sit with it and say that, like, I'm okay that I have this right now and I wish to get better, instead of being like, this is so unfair, I have this, my life is shit, because you're not helping yourself. Your body does respond to what you're telling it. And I think, the mindset work was just very, very big for me. And at the beginning, I really didn't want to do it. And I don't know if that's because I'm like a young person but I do think it will be something a lot of people that you work with that I see might come into, because a lot of people just want a simple fix, which is I understand that. I wanted
Yeah.
that. I really wanted to just take one pill, poof, pain be gone. Like, and I wanted to live my life, but that's not how it works. Like, that's not realistic, and you're not a magician. Like,
I know, I'm not. Some people, no matter how much I say that, they're like, just fix it. And I'm like, I'm not
yeah,
magic. You know, it's
yeah,
just, this is your journey. You got to put in the work, and you did.
yeah. That
You
is
did.
that is it. You really have to actually want to be better so much that you're willing to do anything for it. Because yeah, I think a lot of people say they can't afford it. I see that a lot in your page. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. And a lady was actually angry with me the other day saying, not everyone has jobs or something. I'm like, I understand. Like, I honestly do understand.
Yeah.
But there is always a way to find something if you really want it. I believe that there's a way to find money. There's a way to make things work, no matter what your
Yeah.
situation is. And I don't mean that coming from like a privileged place because I have a job and stuff, but I just genuinely believe that if this is what you want the most in the world over anything, you will make it happen. And
Oh,
for me,
totally.
that is
But
what
those
I needed.
people, yeah, when they believe they can't do it, it won't happen. Right. And
Yeah,
that's the whole mindset, because I've seen people, they haven't worked in 20 years, and they will manifest the money because they're so determined that they will figure it out. And
yeah,
people have just manifested the money, whether it's a tax return or whatever. It's definitely doable. And I think that, well, one, I'm only one person, so I can't work with everybody. And that kind of
yeah.
limiting belief, I can't take everybody on.
It's easy to pick and choose, sort of, if they have that mindset.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly. And the great thing is I have just written, like, my book is almost done, and it does cover a lot of all this, so that it will be able to help a lot more people
yeah,
that way, to be able to figure it out themselves. The test analysis is there, and then still the option for people, if they want me to do the work for them, it's there also. So hopefully that's going to be done probably in the next few months.
exciting.
Man, this publishing process.
I've worked with you, but I'm still gonna get the book.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, especially with
That's all
IC,
right.
because it's such a personal one. So really, really
Yeah,
appreciate that, and giving me the
that's all
kick in the
right.
butt to get on and do a video.
Yeah, I'm sure it will help somebody who is suffering,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. And just the motivation and the inspiration that, hey, if she did it after suffering for, you know, what, 2 years, like,
Yeah.
anybody can do it. Yeah.
And I was a very negative, I was in that very, I didn't go
Yeah.
into this like, oh my God, I'm going to get better. I was in a very negative headspace about it. So
Yeah.
I think if you can go from that to feeling how I feel now, it's important, because a lot of people might watch this
Yeah.
and think, oh, she's like a happy-go-lucky person. I wasn't. I was a
Yeah.
very negative, pity party. This is shit. My life sucks. I don't want to live like this. And I wanted an instant fix. It was not,
Yeah.
I didn't walk into this thinking it was going to be easy or anything. To me, it was very
Yeah.
hard. So if you are feeling like that, this is definitely going to work for you if you
Yeah.
want it to.
Yeah. And if you put the effort in, because you definitely,
Yeah.
you have really successfully worked through the program, even though there was, sometimes a little bit of frustration about it. You did the work.
Yeah.
You've made the shift with the mindset. You've stayed committed to the program. You keep in touch, which is really great. And a lot of people
Yeah.
don't understand, because I have the unlimited tech support. Either people get too busy, they don't update me, or they feel they're going to, bother me too much. And that's not the
Yeah.
case. Like, when you keep in touch and you keep on schedule, and it allows me to help more.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely kept in touch.
That's okay. I like it. It's sometimes
Yeah.
sad when clients get really better and then they leave.
Yeah,
Then
I
they're
don't
like,
feel like I'm
bye.
gonna leave. Later on in life, I'll be like, "This is my baby. You help me."
Oh, I love babies. That's
Yeah,
always the best part. I love when everybody's going and having babies and getting pregnant when they didn't think they would be able
yeah,
to, or clients who have PCOS and they don't think they're going to be able to have babies, and then now they're having babies. It's just like,
yeah.
oh,
It's
I love
amazing.
babies.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
that's all
We'll end up,
right.
yeah, we'll end it there, and talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.